I'm DeAnn Chase. I am a business attorney. I've been practicing law for over 20 years. I founded Chase Law Group in Southern California. I work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, and professional practice owners, and I help them out with their legal structures that relate to their business or professional practice. So AB5 is a bill that was passed by the California State Assembly at the end of 2019. It was in response to a California Supreme Court case that came out in April of 2018 called Dynamex. Essentially, the issue in Dynamex and as addressed in AB5 is the question of who is an employee in the state of California and who is an independent contractor. So what the Dynamex case did is it created a three-part test called the ABC test that set forth three factors that must be established for someone to qualify as an independent contractor in the state of California. If you are not able to meet all three parts of the test, then you are an employee. So Assembly Bill 5 came out in response to that Supreme Court case, and purportedly it was to clarify who qualifies as an independent contractor in the state of California. Unfortunately, the State Assembly took the position that virtually everyone in the state of California is an employee, and it further shrunk the amount of people who qualify as independent contractors. Initially, I felt it was a disaster. It was a disaster for small businesses. And I was also very disappointed. The question of who qualifies as an independent contractor in the state of California is not new. This has been a trend over the past several years, dating at least as far back as the pre-AB5, pre-Dynamex case of Borrello with regard to who qualifies as an independent contractor. So I was very disappointed with AB5 because I felt it was a missed opportunity on the part of the state of California to provide clarification and to help promote business in the state of California. And unfortunately, it just caused chaos and confusion. I am talking to businesses on a daily basis as far as AB5 and its impact. It's caused a lot of my clients to have to reconsider their business model. It has greatly increased the cost of doing business in the state of California, and it's caused many small businesses, whether they're the hiring party, the business hiring an independent contractor to perform services in their business, or the hired party, the party who works and has worked as an independent contractor, who has enjoyed being an independent contractor. It's caused those individuals to really think about, is it really even worth doing business in California? I work with many different types of businesses. I have specifically, for example, I have a sports medicine client who hires acupuncturists, chiropractors, physical therapists, massage therapists as part of their sports medicine practice. And now the question is, are all of those professionals now the employees of the sports medicine practice? I have a baseball organization that's coming to me because historically their coaches have been independent contractors. Their coaches, may work at other schools, but now the baseball organization is in a position now of needing to bring on all of their coaches as employees, and as a nonprofit, that can really impact its financial picture. I have clients who are yoga studios, dance studios, who have historically hired independent contractors as their instructors. And frankly, the instructors have also really liked being independent contractors. But now, after AB5, all of those individuals are now employees. And so people on both sides now need to change their models. It's very confusing to so many people trying to operate a business in the state of California. I've given a lot of talks and seminars, and I've been talking to a lot of people about the law. One of the primary questions I think that people are asking is, if I incorporate my business, form an LLC or a corporation, does that fix the problem, right? Does that create a situation where I can hire or be hired as an independent contractor? But unfortunately, the law is not clear on that either. For example, there is a professional services exemption to the law that states that the person being hired can be an individual formed as a sole proprietorship or as a business entity. So you can have someone who is a sole proprietor with a DBA being hired under the professional services exemption. However, there is also a business-to-business exemption that is a really helpful model for business owners to be able to hire people. However, under the business-to-business exemption, it can only be between a business entity and a business entity. So I have basically told my clients who are hiring independent contractors that they should not hire someone who does not have their own business entity, an LLC or corporation. That person should also have their own business license, and they need to have a written contract that sets forth the exemption that they are trying to fall in for the relationship. Well, historically, the Borrello test dated back to a case that came down in 1989. It is a test that had 11 factors, more or less. And it was called the right to control test, where basically the hiring party could not exercise control over the manner and means by which someone performed services. And that if that control was exercised, or there was a right to control, the performance of the services, then you would have an employment situation. So Borrello was more of a weighing of the factors. It was sort of the scale of justice. There's like, where were the services conducted, whose tools and instrumentalities were being used. So it was a weighing of the scales. No one factor was dispositive of the relationship. So Borrello has some uncertainties in it as far as who qualifies, as an independent contractor or employee. But at least there was more room for sort of being able to define your own relationship. The new test that came out in the California Supreme Court case of Dynamex, the ABC test, has 3 factors. The 3 factors are that the person performing services is free from the control of the hiring party in practice and under a contract, that the services are performed outside the ordinary course of the hiring party's business, and that the person performing the services is engaged in their own independently established trade, business, or occupation. So the 3-part test, the ABC test, is broader, and it brushes a broader sweep, if you will. It brings in a lot more businesses as employees. So the most difficult factor of the 3-part test for businesses to meet is the Part B test, the Part B of the test, which is that the services being performed by the independent contractor are outside the ordinary course of the business that is hiring them. So I think, that as far as the 2 tests go, I think they both create ambiguities, but definitely Borrello, the previous test, allowed for more flexibility. Well, for me, I see an easy fix with regard to my clients who are professional services providers. So that's the first thing, is for professional services providers, I think that the law should be drafted to incorporate the definition of professional services from the California Corporations Code. In the California Corporations Code, there is a list of professions that must form professional corporations for their businesses. So I think that if all of the businesses from that code are incorporated into AB5, then you would be able to correct the situation of people who are providing professional services, specialized services that historically have been able to be independent contractors, such as acupuncturists, physical therapists, chiropractors, court reporters, and a lot of other professions. So that's the first change I would make. The second one is just as regard to small business in general. I would create an exception for small businesses or at a minimum micro businesses. So micro businesses have revenues of less than $250,000. They generally have 5 or less employees. So I think that would be an easy exemption to draft. That would also really address a lot of the concerns of the freelance communities and independent contractors. I think that AB5 is indicative of the trend, unfortunately, of the state of California that is making it so difficult for small businesses to be able to continue to operate in the state of California. So no, I don't think that AB5 is a fair law for small business, and I think that it's really created a lot of uncertainty and ambiguity. And I do want to be clear that I do think, of course, it's important to protect workers' rights, and I think that is the stated purpose of the law. But I do think that it has had, hopefully, unintended consequences in creating this unlevel playing field for people who are trying to do things the right way. They're trying to make a living, and they enjoy the flexibility of having their own lifestyle. I think that if AB5 remains the law of the land, we're just going to continue to see more of what we've been seeing since it took effect in January of this year, of 2020. I think that it has just continued to create chaos. I spoke with someone today, actually, who is an occupational therapist who's been hired as an independent contractor all along, and he said, I really have to reconsider at this point whether it's worthwhile to continue at all to engage in my professional practice here in the state of California. So I think that it's just unfortunately going to cause a lot of people to be out of work, a lot of businesses to shut down due to the increased cost, and frankly, a lot of people are moving out of California. I just think that AB5 is trying to push workers in the state of California into an antiquated system. If you look at the statistics with regard to millennials, for example, millennials more and more are in a position of wanting to have their own businesses, to create their own lifestyle, and I think that that trying to push people into a worker classification as an employee kind of brings up a 9-to-5 mentality. It just doesn't exist anymore. And I think that it's really trying to put a square prong in a round hole, if you will. It's just not working. And I think that that AB5 is just not the right way to go.